Hi everyone, my name is Bella, and for my technique demonstration I am going to be doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. And so we actually use it frequently at the group home I currently am doing my field placement at. It's one of those where it's super helpful for the teenagers that we work with who get emotionally dysregulated regularly, and a lot of them struggle with anxiety. So it's one of those things where if you're feeling extremely overwhelmed or anxious, that it kind of helps you become centered in the moment and you focus more on like what's going on around you versus what originally made you feel upset or anxious, things like that. And so, like I said, it's one where we use it frequently where I'm currently doing my field placement, and it works well on the teenagers there. For the general population, I do think you need at least elementary age school kids to really have it work, because you need like the kids to identify like what's going on around them, so they need to understand like their senses, like what they see, hear, touch, things like that. You could use it on adults. I just don't know whether they'd really buy into it. Even like sometimes with the teenagers, it can be difficult for them to buy into, where originally they'll sit there and think that it's kind of stupid, but eventually we'll do it after like a couple prompts here and there. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what we do with the clients. So originally how it's supposed to go is the first time you do it, you are kind of coaching the client through what they have to do, and then the more times you do it with a client, the more they're able to do it themselves. So the goal is for the clients to be able to kind of learn how to do it, and within a couple times be able to do it themselves with minimal prompting. It's one where we're currently working on it with one of the clients I am a primary clinician for, is trying to get her to that point where she can do it herself, but she does enjoy having people do it with her. It's a great trust building exercises because they know that they can go to you and that you're going to sit there and help them and walk them through what they need to do. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask the client to focus on their breathing. So a lot of times people come to you and they're doing these deep breaths where like they're deep and they're fast, and so what you want is you want them to take long, slow, deep breaths. So breathing in, and you want them to make sure that they're exhaling slowly. You want them to sit there and do at least 5 or 6 of those. Sometimes it's a lot easier if you do it with them. So sitting there taking another deep breath. Exhaling. Then we're going to do it one more time. Deep breath in. And exhale. And so the second step is to sit there and have the client identify 5 things that they can see around them. It could be literally anything. And so for your sake, I'm going to try to identify things that I can see right now. So on a TV, I can see Moana, which is currently paused because I was babysitting before I did this video. If you look behind me, you can see thing 1, which I made for myself. There's a picture behind me as well. I see the light that's on in my room, and then I can see a car pulling down my street right now. The third thing you're going to do is have the client identify 4 things that they can touch. So you want it to be something tangible that they'd be able to sit there and pick up. And so I can see a blanket in the corner of the room. I see my book bag on the ground. A laundry basket, and a cup on a table over there. And so those are 4 things that I can touch and pick up if I need to. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to have the client identify 3 things that they can hear. So right now I can hear the TV that's on in the other room. I can hear my dog walking around my kitchen right now. And I can, what else can I hear? I can hear my stomach growling because I haven't had dinner yet. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to have your client identify 2 things that they can smell. So right now I can smell the pizza that's cooking in my oven right now, and all I can smell right now is baby formula because, like I said, I was babysitting, so that's like all that I can really smell. And then the last thing is to have them identify something that they can taste. And so prior to this, I was chewing gum, so I can currently taste the spearmint gum I was chewing. And so that's pretty much what the exercise looks like. It is one of those where it does take a lot longer when you have clients who aren't really willing to do it because there is some pushback when you try to do it, and also a lot of times they'll sit there and they'll struggle to figure out what they're going to identify, especially some places that can be very bland. Like in my placement, we have a room that's called the timeout room, where it's literally just an empty room. So sitting there and trying to find 4 things that they can touch can be extremely difficult. But it's one of those things where you can adjust it, especially if they're having a difficult time with it, because sometimes if they're having a super difficult time, you don't want to sit there and have them struggle to find it, and then they just become more frustrated. But so that's pretty much what the technique looks like. Sometimes it's also beneficial to have them still focus on their deep breathing after. And then we always do a check-in after to see how they're feeling, whether it helped, whether it didn't, like if they need to do a different kind of grounding technique, because sometimes that might not always work. But for right now, that's all I have. So I hope you guys enjoyed and found it useful. Thanks.